All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are exploring one of the most intense, universal financial tugs of war that young professionals face today. You know the feeling, right? You've worked incredibly hard, you've landed a good job, your savings are finally starting to grow, and suddenly, you want to reward yourself. You want the dream car. But is that car a well-deserved trophy for all your hard work, or is it basically a financial anchor that's going to sink your future wealth? Well, we're going to break down the hard math, the passionate arguments on both sides, and some brilliant hacks we found to help you navigate this massive decision. Okay, let's dive right into this. Should you actually buy your dream car in your 20s? Man, it is a question that sparks some fierce debate. On one hand, you're young, you probably don't have a mortgage yet, maybe you don't have a family to support, and you really just want to enjoy the fruits of your early career labor. Completely understandable. But on the other hand, traditional financial wisdom is practically screaming at you to save every single penny. To really wrap our heads around this, we need to look at a real-life example.
So to ground this, let's talk about a specific real-world dilemma we pulled directly from a massive debate on Reddit. Picture this. We've got a 24-year-old guy. He is doing everything right, maxing out his retirement, saving aggressively, and currently driving a super reliable 2011 Honda Civic with 90,000 miles on it. It runs perfectly. But let's be totally honest, it doesn't exactly get his heart racing on the morning commute. The kicker is, he has actually saved up enough cash to buy his dream car, a $50,000 used Acura Integra Type S. He can literally buy it outright without even touching his emergency fund. Now, from a pure, cold numbers perspective, keeping the Civic is the obvious answer. But humans aren't spreadsheets.
When he asked for advice, the responses were incredibly polarized. And one user really captured the emotional argument for YOLO perfectly, saying, "Investments are great, but I've seen many people die before they ever got to live. Sad." And you know what? We have to acknowledge that reality. Life is wildly unpredictable. There is a very real, very valid desire to enjoy a fantastic, fun-to-drive car while you are still young enough to truly appreciate it. I mean, driving a sports car in your 20s is a vastly different experience than driving one in your 60s, right? The memories, the road trips, the pure, unadulterated joy. You really can't put a price tag on that. But then, boom, we snapped right back to reality with a contrasting mathematical warning. Listen to this response from someone who actually bought their dream car in their 30s. Would I have regretted it if I bought it at your age? Fuck yes. Put that money into the market. This perfectly pits that emotional "you only live once" argument directly against the cold, hard logic of financial experts. Because the absolute core of this argument is that in your 20s, time is literally your most valuable asset. And dropping a massive chunk of capital on a car comes with a massive invisible price tag. Which brings us to Section 1, the invisible financial trap of depreciation and opportunity cost. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive opportunity cost of buying a depreciating asset early in life, pulling from some hard facts we found in the Economic Times. Think about depreciation for a second. A new car loses 20 to 30% of its value in just the first year. It is literally an asset that actively destroys your wealth simply by existing in your driveway. Now compare that to compounding. Historically, money invested in a diversified market portfolio doubles roughly every 7 years. So, if our 24-year-old invests at $50,000 instead of buying the Acura, by the time he's 31, it could be $100,000. By 38, $200,000. The true cost of that car isn't $50,000, it's the hundreds of thousands of dollars in future wealth he is directly sacrificing. But wait, it gets even deeper. Because a car's sticker price, that's just the tip of the iceberg. As highlighted by experts at Car Bike India, you absolutely have to factor in the total cost of ownership, or TCO. You've got your down payment and your monthly EMIs if you decide to finance, but then you have insurance premiums, which let me tell you are notoriously brutal for young drivers in sports cars. You have fuel costs, regular maintenance, totally unexpected repairs, and registration charges. These are the hidden wealth killers that just drain your monthly income, leaving you with way less cash to actually invest and build your future foundation. So before you even think about signing a dealership contract, there is a golden rule you absolutely cannot ignore: 6 to 8 months. That is the amount of living expenses you must have saved up in a completely untouchable emergency fund. Draining all your savings for a car purchase leaves you incredibly vulnerable to things like job loss or sudden medical emergencies. Your financial security must always come before any lifestyle upgrades. No exceptions. Moving on to Section 2, the ultimate framework, the 20-4-10 rule. So how do we actually take the emotion out of this car buying process? Well, financial experts use this objective, mathematical rule of thumb. Step 1.
You must be able to put down at least a 20% down payment. This protects you right out of the gate from immediate depreciation. Step 2, a 4-year maximum loan tenure. Seriously, if you have to stretch the loan to 6 or 7 years just to afford the monthly payment, you simply cannot afford the car. And step 3, your total car expenses, so that's the loan, the insurance, the gas, the maintenance, must not exceed 10% of your gross monthly income. So the crucial point is that this framework keeps you from going completely underwater on an auto loan and ensures your car doesn't cannibalize your ability to invest.
All right, Section 3, get ready for this. This is the financial hack. SIP versus car EMI.
Pulling some fascinating data from Angel One here, we first need to get crystal clear on what we are actively trying to avoid. A traditional car loan is fundamentally a bad loan. You are financing a rapidly depreciating asset. You are literally paying high interest to a bank for the privilege of owning something that is actively losing its value every single day. It works directly against your net worth. It's a lose-lose.
Now, what's really interesting about this next breakdown is the stark side-by-side comparison of taking on debt versus earning compounding interest. Let's look at a scenario using Indian rupees for scale. Strategy 1. You take a car loan of 12 lakh at 10% interest. Your monthly EMI is roughly 19,900 for 7 long years. You end up paying over 16.7 lakh total, meaning you just handed the bank over 4.7 lakh in pure interest. Yikes. Now, strategy 2. Instead of buying the car today, you take that exact same monthly payment, the 19,900, and you invest it in a systematic investment plan, or SIP, in a mutual fund earning an estimated 12%. You do this for just 4 years. Your total out-of-pocket investment is only 9.56 lakh, but your result is a built corpus of 12.3 lakh. 12.3 lakh. Let that sink in. By flipping the script and paying yourself first, you build a massive corpus in barely 4 years. The compounding literally does the heavy lifting for you, effectively letting the market buy a massive chunk of your car, completely debt-free. Yes, it absolutely requires patience, but the financial payoff is just staggering. Which leads us nicely into Section 4, balancing today and tomorrow, the final verdict. So, where does all this leave us? We've heard the emotional pleas, we've seen the cold hard math. The best approach usually sits right in the middle with some smart, practical compromises. First, buy certified pre-owned. Let some other guy take that initial 30% depreciation hit. Second, if you absolutely must finance, strictly adhere to the 24/10 rule to protect your cash flow. Third, plan ahead. Actually try to build a car fund with SIP investments before you ever head to the dealership. And finally, try to view a car as utility asset. If an upgraded vehicle genuinely boosts your productivity, if it saves you massive commute time or keeps you safer on the road, well then it has actual value beyond just being a shiny toy. There's this quote from the Economic Times that just beautifully summarizes the core thesis of everything we've explored in this explainer today. Quote, "The most powerful strategy is balancing today's convenience with tomorrow's wealth." And it's so true. It perfectly validates both sides. You shouldn't live like a monk and deny yourself all joy, right? But you also absolutely cannot allow today's desires to completely derail your long-term financial independence. It is all about calculated, balanced choices. Which leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question to ponder as you look over your own bank account. Are your daily choices funding your current lifestyle, or are they financing your future freedom? The next time you find yourself late night browsing those car listings, remember the invisible costs, remember the sheer power of compounding, and make sure whatever you choose puts you firmly in the driver's seat of your financial future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Billionaire Blueprint. For more exciting videos, please subscribe to the channel and keep watching.